I want to show you how ShopBirdy AI chat works and generates images for products. Okay, give me just a second. I'm setting it up now. This is running locally on my machine, and it will be available for anyone to use. So if you have a mobile phone, you can just type in the URL. It'll be shopbirdy.ai something. I don't know, chat, I think. I'll share it once it's ready. So this is the chat. So you can create images just like if you were working with a photographer or using Photoshop. You can do it right through ShopBirdy. I'm going to start by just saying, hi, how are you? Oh, yeah, I can just say hi. I don't need to give it a tool just yet. It should respond and tell me what it can do. As you can see here from the loading, it says it's connected and working. What this solves is that a lot of times when you vibe code an app, you'll end up having timeout issues because the server can only keep a connection open for a limited amount of time. If you need always on or streaming, you need to use a different set of protocols. So this is a very sophisticated kind of chat app that renders using server-side API calls. It also creates this UI. And the other benefit of using ShopBirdy AI tools, if you're a developer, is our goal is going to be able to give you a package, a style sheet, or maybe a bundler that will help you map your designs, your prompts, structure your style sheets, and your XMLs and your JSONs to work within the ShopBirdy AI flow, especially for the MCP. What this should allow us to do is request minimal amount of tokens from the LLM and handle some of the rendering or most of the data transformation within our app or within our server. So eventually we would like to have an SDK that allows developers to plug into these MCP tools and even accept code or accept style sheets, for example. So you can see that ShopBirdy has responded. This is using GPT-5. It's the latest GPT family of models, and it has access to ShopBirdy MCP. So the chat is a wrapper around the MCP. The MCP is essentially functions that you can use. So let's ask the assistant, can you generate a new hero image for a software AI design studio app. Let's just see how that parses it. So what it's doing, it's now, you can see it's calling the tool. So we have a process that it's kind of like opening up Photoshop, creating the image, and then sending it back to you. But we can do that much, much faster. It's also faster than browsing to a website, searching for an image, trying to download it, enter your payment credentials, get the license, and everything else like that. So ShopBirdy allows you to iterate much more quickly. And the design phase is almost the most important thing, because when you're designing a new product for sale to customers, you want to start with the design. You'll iterate on the design. It won't be perfect the first time, but just having that sketch, having that diagram of what you want to create helps to crystallize it. And then you can refine that, and then from there you can have a project. So what is it that you want to build? What's the timeline? What are the resources? And then what's the budget? But you want to start with the design first. So I think design is actually going to be really critical for AI adoption across other industries. So far, we've seen a lot of copilots, and we've seen a lot of generative AI that is in the form of text. But images are a whole new ballgame. All right, so I rendered it white background on white text, so you won't be able to see this. I'll have to fix this. It says it's ready, and here's the image URL of where that image is. So it created it. So what is a hero image? A hero image is typically the first kind of digital billboard or banner that customers see when they visit your website. It's their first impression. It's typically the first image above the fold, and it's really close to a call to action. Sometimes the call to action is just getting more information. Other times it's to buy or order now. So the hero image is kind of like the first image that will typically load on a website. And I think it's important to note that ShopBirdy can also be used to create product images for digital products. So software, for example, is a great example of this. You can use MCP tool to look through your whole project, come up with a prompt that best describes it, and essentially compress your whole idea into one picture or one pictogram. This contains a lot of information. It can contain colors and gradients, lines, and text. So effectively, an image is a new form of media. But how we access these images, whether or not they persist, whether or not they are just temporary, that all goes into the logic that ShopBirdy MCP server is going to handle for you. So by default, all your generated images will persist only temporarily. If you want to keep those images, I recommend that you create an account and save them to your gallery, then you'll have access to them. Otherwise, you could manually save this. So let's just do that now. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to copy this path, and I now have this image that the ShopBirdy chat created for me. I have to change this styling because this is not readable. Something seems to be failing in the data transformation, but the image is here. So the assistant came back, it showed the results. Here's the tool result, the image. Then we can open it. Here it is. And now this is ready for me, even locally, on my device. So that demonstrated that we have the ability to use ChatGPT. ChatGPT can chat with ShopBirdy MCP server. Since it has access to all the ShopBirdy tools, you can ask your chatbot to do things for you that ShopBirdy can enable. Like, for example, create great images based on my website content, or based on, because the thing about text is, like, some people they like to learn visually. So if you look at the ratio of text in a textbook versus the number of pictures, I think a lot of customers would appreciate a ratio where there's maybe more pictures. You can read text, and we always do, but I think if you can look at the number of text generated and think of a perfect ratio of text to image, and you can adjust that for your business, I think that's really important. Because the other thing you can do is you can build internal communication documentation. So if you have a new training or a new policy in the workplace, if you have a structured form document that describes these rules, then the image generation model will be able to understand it and illustrate that for people. And then what ShopBirdy does is it helps to manage your prompting and how you do the data transformation. And then when you get the output, how do you save it? How do you recall it? And so forth. So this is a demonstration of a fully integrated modern wrapper around an MCP server, which itself is integrated with the best large language models. In this case, we're using all the OpenAI models, GPT-5 family, and also the GPT image 1 image generation model. So that is an example. Now, once we're here, we're like, great, now I want to use this image. So we can go to our IDE, and I believe I am exposing this key here, but this is actually going to be the public account key. So for people who want to try this, they can use this key without issues. It will eventually need to be refreshed or rotated, but right now, if you want to use this key and try it for yourself, you should be able to. And if you can't, please do report to me, and I'll try to fix that. But what I want to do is I actually literally want to use this image that I just generated in my website. Right now we're viewing it as a gallery, but I want to actually use it in my website. So to do that, I'm going to ask my integrated developer environment to see if it can call the MCP server, generate an image, and parse the response. What's important to note here is that this chat interface that I've built wraps perfectly around ShopBirdy MCP. But the IDE the IDEs also have a ton of extra tools. So they have file management on your local device and so forth. So there's some things that the chat web-based interface will be able to do, and then there's other things that you might want to use your IDE for. So in this case, I have ShopBirdy working within Visual Studio Code, and I asked it to generate the image, find the file path, and then update it. So it just created this image, and I want to also point out that this is called a magic URL. So effectively, what this allows me to do is I can embed this short URL, and it will always pull whatever the latest image is that I've generated for that page. This makes it way easier to manage your website, because now in your web code, all you need to do is just follow this pattern. And you don't need to have to know the file names or the things like that, even if they change. So this is a great way to kind of like make it so much easier for you to update your images almost automatically on your website. Because otherwise you'd have to edit a lot of code and manage a lot of files and so forth. So that has been loaded. Previously, we used a 1 pixel by 1 pixel image. That technically is an image, but we want to see it on the web. So I want to now use this image. I want to use this image. Please integrate it into the hero section or header of the chat web app. So we're going to see if GPT-5 with Microsoft Copilot can work together with ShopBirdy MCP to enable these kinds of workflows. I think they can. I think they can. It's going to go and make a lot of cool changes. It might, some cases, over-engineer, but I don't think so. Let me restart the server. And we don't see it yet. It's still falling back to the other image. Let's run a quick test. Oh, I have dual servers running at the same time. That could cause an issue. Let me run only this one. So, as you can see, the image has been updated on my server. I now have a magic URL. So, whenever I need a new hero image, I'll just reference the ShopBirdy URL that calls the hero image. And in the background, anytime I want to update the hero image or add a new one or replace it or just cycle through a bunch of them, I can just use ShopBirdy MCP to generate all these images and cycle through them. And so that's what this does here, which I think is pretty cool. Log in again, and here it is. So that's a demo of ShopBirdy MCP connected with GPT-5 level intelligence, GPT image 1 level image rendering, and it will be ready to use the new version of GPT image as soon as OpenAI releases that. GPT image 1 was built, I believe, during the ChatGPT 4 era. Now that we're at 5, I believe there's going to be a whole new, even better image model, and that'll plug right into this ShopBirdy service, which lives within the Azure cloud and is basically built on Microsoft Stack end-to-end. Not to say that we can't configure with other model providers, not at all, but I just wanted to make this proof of concept to effectively validate that we have an engine here to generate really cool renders for any kind of use case. And we've also added the ability to host them using magic URLs, which will make it much easier to update images in the future. And we can do this through a chat interface, or we can do it through our integrated developer environment. It works great with both. All right, that's all I want to share for now, guys. Thank you very much, and I hope you can try ShopBirdy MCP very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.